Hello there. Welcome to the companion broadcast Stream On with T-Mobile. This is a companion broadcast for the Overwatch League match that's going on right now. It's going to be an amazing one. What is it, the lower bracket final that we've got coming up?
Rematch.
A rematch, yeah, with Shanghai taking on the Florida Mayhem. And we are joined by two fantastic guests from Team 4, the Overwatch team behind the development of the game. It's Scott Mercer and Jesse Yang. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yeah, pleased to
Our
be
pleasure.
here.
Yeah.
Did the rookie mistake?
I
You didn't
did.
direct it
No,
at an
no,
individual, so nobody knew. Nobody knew how to pick it up.
What can I say? I'm a fool, an
Yeah.
amateur fool,
I
and that's
do it
why I
all the
don't
time.
host stuff like this.
I do it all the time.
But yeah, we're just
Scott
gonna have
and I
a
should.
we're gonna have a chill discussion. If you've tuned into this this broadcast, then we're just gonna be watching the Overwatch League game. We're gonna be talking about some behind the scenes stuff, pick Scott and Jesse's brains and that kind of thing. I would like to start off though with just if people have been living under a rock and they're not aware of what you two have been up to behind the scenes. Scott, starting with you. I'm going to direct it to somebody this time. There you go. There's a little key. Scott, could you explain what your role is on the Overwatch League team? Sorry, on the Overwatch team.
Overwatch team, right. Yeah, I'm one of the designers on Overwatch. I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, but I think what's super important for this particular show is that I work on competitive play in esports. So I interact a fair amount with, I talk with John Spector, a lot of the other sort of leadership, trying to make sure that sort of just serving as a, someone to talk to in terms of it's like, hey, how do we set up these tournaments so they can be super fair and awesome. Lots of little things in terms of competitive play, and then also other kind of systems, work on things with player dynamics, so player endorsements, handling player reporting. And then I'm also working on Overwatch 2. I'm working on some missions for that, which is also pretty exciting. I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Jesse, could you describe your role on the Overwatch team as well? What have you been involved with recently?
Okay, well, I'm an associate software engineer on Team 4, and so a lot of what I end up working on is basically Overwatch is a game with gameplay and then other stuff that you need to code, and I do the other stuff. So that includes stuff I've recently worked on patch notes as of last year. I worked a lot on the replay viewer updates most recently, the custom game stuff, the custom options and everything. I also have been working with our observers on improving our spectator tools and things like that.
Nice.
And other miscellaneous tasks and other things behind the scenes that we can't talk about yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be a lot of that, I think, Brent. A lot of secretive stuff going on behind the scenes when it comes to Overwatch at the moment, as I'm sure people will be able to figure out. Before we launch into it, though, the game is about to begin, but we've got a short word from our partners as well, T-Mobile, because when you, Bren, when you game, well, not just you, but when everybody, but I'm using you and I'm using you as the example. When you game flank or push, you'll know T-Mobile has you covered. Their nationwide 5G network is as clutch as Ana in a last-minute hold.
That's very clutch.
Very clutch. It's just another way America's largest and fastest 5G network is changing the game. Visit T-Mobile.com today to check it out, and your game will thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So there you go.
I know.
Yeah, you can check out that at T-Mobile.com and take a look at that stuff. And in the meantime, we're going to be heading into our match because it looks like we're about to go into Oasis. Now, we've been kind of sitting there watching the previous game that's been going on, setting up this stream as well. Do either of you two have a favorite going into this? I know that might be I don't know, picking between your children or something.
In what way?
I don't know. I feel like if you're involved in Overwatch in an official capacity, you might want to remain impartial. I don't know.
You can still be a fan of a team.
Okay, I don't know, Bren. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
Do you have a favorite, Scott?
Not so much necessarily a favorite, but as far as who I think is going to win this match, I think Florida's they just came off that previous win. They're riding they've got that mythical momentum or whatever, but I think they're just a really clever team. And Shanghai, I don't know, they haven't looked as dominant as they were last season.
Definitely true.
There's matches where it's
No, it's also.
And then there's other matches where it's like, oh, they're totally awesome and dominant. So it just seems like that. Because of that inconsistency, I think Florida might take this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 6-mapper last time it happened. Jesse, do you have, what was your hot pred?
I really wish I wouldn't have to choose. I think these two teams are going to match up like a really nice series for us again. I mean, yeah, like Scott said, I think Mayhem have like definitely some momentum, but maybe they're a little tired after playing that series. Well,
hey, it's getting late. It's definitely getting late.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact.
I don't know. I really don't know where it's going. I think Mayhem feels like a little bit more of an underdog though, so maybe I'm going for them.
Okay, all right, you're going for the underdog pick. I like that. I like that. It's also just been so cool seeing the different range of like styles that we've seen at the moment in terms of these games too. I had no idea what they were going to come out on here. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I never
like no idea whether they were going to be playing some dive comp, some rush or whatever, but I mean, yeah, this would seem like it would favor Florida. But the patch does seem extremely open right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just a lot of the teams are finding like they're coming up with different solutions for what works best for them. And there's enough like balance within the heroes that they can make their decisions based more on that and like the kind of style that they want to play, as opposed to just like, oh well, this set of heroes in this particular comp is just like so strong that
yeah,
we can use it everywhere.
That's a pretty interesting. Well, I imagine it must be a pretty interesting dynamic as a developer to have the pros just break your game on repeat and try and ruin the balance of it every time.
I never thought about it like that, but
that's essentially what they do, right?
Yeah, they're just trying to find the most efficient and min-max composition as possible.
Yeah.
After every patch, it's like a little puzzle. The coaching staffs for all the OWL teams are like trying to like solve. So I mean, it's something where I don't know. It's just we deal with it. I mean, it's we're used to it. I think we're getting better at it. Like we've been like way more committed lately to making changes. We've been putting a lot of stuff on experimental card. We've just been like a whole lot more active and making like small changes, trying to get to this point. And I think what you see now is, I'm not gonna say it's like, oh man, we did such a great job, because a lot of it's luck. I'm just gonna be straight up, really honest.
Sure.
Finding this kind of meta, you can try, every month to come up with another patch, and you're never really sure like what's gonna happen. But
there's so many variables in a game that's this complex.
Well, and how the teams react to those changes.
Sure.
So I mean, I think we just have to just sit here and say,
how did Flutta get killed there?
Yeah, that was insane. That could turn things around.
Yeah, so you just have to enjoy it. So enjoy the meta while it lasts.
I've been really enjoying the little and often approach that you guys on the dev team are taking to like the balance of the game. Just the constant tweaks, I suppose. Like especially because I think when you don't introduce massive changes, like a massive variable, like a new hero edition and stuff, it's you gotta tweak it a little and often. But it's worked out. Like the teams, they don't know what to play. So
that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely made for a lot of exciting matches.
Yeah, I think what's really incredible about this meta so far is just like how map based it is. Like you're not running the same comp on everything, and like the favor for each team goes one way or another depending on that map.
Yeah, it is really interesting, especially because it's like you have the opportunity to select if you end up losing a map, but you're limited to the type as well, and some types favor certain styles more than others too. Oh, this is just down to the wire.
I'm really surprised that Shanghai are taking this as well. Like the rush mirror match. Oh my god, Yaki just hit 2 headshots, I think.
This is winnable for Florida. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think Yaki's just clutched it for them.
And BQB's doing so much up from the high ground.
He's just up there and shooting everything.
Just absolutely free. All right, Lip though. Lip on McCree. Lip earlier today on Tracer when we were casting that match. That was an outrageous performance. I didn't know he could play the Tracer like that. but he was hard.
It was ridiculous as well. I felt so bad for the observers because they were always watching like the Winston engages when they're playing the Winston comps. Because it's the guys who are making the most space. But then out of nowhere in the kill feed, Lip gets a pulse bomb kill and another kill and just kills the backline. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Hold the high ground? No,
oh.
down, but that's a boom.
Surely gone. Wait, no?
Wait,
no,
what? He made it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. That's unlucky.
Yeah, that was that balance change where they could fly, I think.
Oh my
Oh yeah, we did temporarily give McCree the ability to roll midair.
True, yeah. Oh, I mean that was a crazy patch.
We just channeled that.
Yeah.
I really liked that change.
That was part of the April Fool's patch, wasn't it?
Oh, no, I don't
that
think
was
so.
like a normal battles patch.
It was like
a normal experimental patch, I should say.
Oh, a normal experimental one. Yeah.
I quite liked it. I wanted to.
He had extraordinary mobility.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What is there like a coherent goal with all of those changes, or is it just kind of a huge amount of a mixed bag? Like some of them you really want to see how they work, some of them you throw them in with other stuff, or is there always some kind of fixed idea of a goal whenever you're introducing that stuff to experimental?
I don't know if there's necessarily like an overall like singular goal. If anything, there's probably like the meta changing meta, and that changes depending upon what the meta looks like, and then which is a weirdest like Inception like thing to say, but it kind of just depends on patch to patch. You know, what people are playing. You know, we're still looking at data in terms of win rates and pick rates. That's still something we look like that. We're like looking at what the OWL teams are doing. What grandmasters play. Look at contenders as well. We always see like a lot of like crazy stuff come out of contenders.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. Like every single time, it's like, well, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do like with this patch? And sometimes it's like some things just sort of pop up to the well, let's try something with this. And in other cases, it's just like someone had an idea and thought something would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Diva remake.
Yeah.
Change.
I mean, that one is. Is that one that got taken from the community tournament recommendations because people thought it would be funny? Was that one?
It's from the April Fool's patch.
Oh,
we just
right.
went from 600 to 250.
Yeah.
Just enough to kill any squishies.
I would love to have that job. Of just proposing ludicrous balance changes and seeing what stuck. I think that would be so fun to just, because I quite like the philosophy of balance where if everyone's overpowered, nobody is. If I was balancing a game, that's what I would do. But because I think you can get wacky with it, and it just, I don't know, it gets fun at that point.
No, that is definitely our philosophy. Make all these heroes feel like powerful characters that they're all fun to play. That's the other one. It's like not just powerful, but it's like fun.
Exactly.
Sure.
Get that
they all have moments where they can like, you can put them in the spotlight and they can shine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I love about this meta as well. Getting to see people play Reinhardt and Winston and pop off from that role, and then the supports all have their shining moments as well, and yet you can still have amazing DPS pop-offs too. It really feels like Overwatch is in a pretty great place at the moment, and I'm excited to see what Hero Pulse does for the June Joust as well. It's just, we've had some amazing games so far. These might be the best beginning to an Overwatch League season that we've had.
In my mind, I think it is. It's all come together.
I have to agree, personally. I mean, I think a lot of that's also, not just from a meta perspective, but I think just like the teams are improving. There's
definitely
across the board a lot more amazing talent that we see playing Overwatch. The teams are, the coaching is leveling up. The teams are being put together in a more smart fashion. So, it's not a situation where you have like a few like really top teams and then the rest. We've seen this so much parity really within the league. I mean, how many teams almost got into the main melee?
And Dallas Fuel
down a map differential. It's like
Dallas were in 6th seed coming into this as well.
Exactly.
But what other choice do you have?
Yeah, I do think it's kind of like wild to think that like there's so many teams that have beaten other teams, and it's not even like, oh, it's like some sort of like circle of suck sort of thing. It's just like, you know, like certain matchups actually matter. You know, like some teams will play like rock, paper, scissors against another team better. It's like, it's really exciting.
It's more so than any other year, I think. You get these stylistic matchups. Like this game here, honestly, I would have, in the Rush matchup, I would have given this to Florida. But Shanghai have just come out swinging.
They have, yeah. They've really got a good idea of what they want to do here. I wonder, whenever you have a team rematch, it usually favors... Oh, wow, that was an enormous Scribbling Flux.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a team rematch, though, it feels like it favors the team that ended up losing. But when you have such a close match and you come away from it, both teams have learning moments, you know? Like, both teams are going to be thinking, wow, we messed up some big stuff in that previous... 6-map series because it was so scrappy and all over the place. So now both of the teams will be thinking about like what they failed at previously. So you can have situations where they just reverse and all the stuff they were winning at originally, they end up losing at because the other team made the right adaptations. It's such a you can improvise and change so much the way that you play Overwatch. It's got such a flow to it, this game.
I think what's also exciting about this season is like, you know, because of us being able to like take teams to Hawaii and stuff like that, it's like we can like start to rebuild some of these the storylines between like these different teams, right? Like we didn't get to see Mayhem and Dragons play in ages. And like, if you told somebody in 2018, by the way, Shanghai and Mayhem are going to both be in like the losers finals of a major tournament,
that's so amazing.
I'd be like, what the heck?
You think about where we started, and now we're here.
Yeah,
literally the two worst teams in 2018.
Yeah, they were, and they were like tragically poor as well, tragically, and now they're up right next to the top. What an opening for Shanghai.
That is super. Honestly, I think that went against my expectations completely. I thought, I mean, my understanding was that Florida's rush was pretty good and Shanghai's was just a little bit below it, but they just came out swinging. I don't think this bodes well for Florida, but I think it does bode well for us going to bed early. So, like, it's...
maybe that's what we need.
Yeah, you say that, but it's Control, and Control's always feels like it's definitely kind of the wild card where like either team usually like, you know, pull out a win, and it doesn't really necessarily mean much for the rest of the match either.
Sure.
I think it's also what's really remarkable is like that first Control point, or that first Control round, that overtime happened for like a minute, like a solid minute. I think it's still such a tight series, even though like Shanghai edged it out.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
And both teams will brawl.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be way more to this as well.
Did you want to do our fan moment in the break?
I definitely did. Okay. You know I did, Brent, because we had a tweet where we asked different fans to be able to send in questions for, I mean, it was mostly supposed to be for Scott and Jesse, but I think there was also some for me and you for some reason. But so yeah, here we go. It's the Fan Connection segment by Timor Ball. And this is, I don't know whether this got announced previously, so this might be a surprise to some people out there, but if your question got selected, you are going to get a surprise gift from T-Mobile as well. So I think we have our first question here as well. Yep, here it was. It was from Gushing Gecko on Twitter. And they asked, who would be in your starting roster using only players that made the May Melee tournament? So like a fantasy roster kind of thing. And I'm going to give Scott and Jesse a little moment to think about theirs and who they might pick. And we might not have to do like a whole 6-person team if that gets too complex, but I'm going to begin with you. I'm not going to answer this because I'm the question master.
Sure.
But
question master,
for
of course.
Gushing Gecko,
yes,
whose name is extremely, I don't know.
Don't go into it. Just carry on.
Question.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who's your fantasy team?
My
for
fantasy
the May Melee?
team?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to pull up like the players?
What do you mean pull up the players?
because I mean, we're going into podcast mode here.
There's only 4 teams.
I know, but
Can't you remember the players on 4 teams? It's Chengdu, Mayhem, Shanghai, and Dallas.
My memory refreshed.
All right, well, refresh your memory.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you're not going to remember any of the players, are you? And this is going to be a terrible segment.
I will, but okay. So I think for starters, I go for my tank line. I go for Fearless as my main tank, and my off tank, I think I have Void, and I think that is probably the best tank duo that you could make.
All right.
In the melee.
Okay. All right. I'm waiting for the rebuttals from Scott and Jesse. We'll hold on to those to see whether they've got better main tank and off tank picks.
My support line. I don't know, man.
Don't worry, we've only got a few more minutes in the ad break. Take all the time you want.
We could take a lot of time with this. I'll move on to DPS. I think DPS is easier.
Okay.
I think Yaki.
Sure.
I would have, for sure. Who would I have alongside Yaki? Maybe... maybe Fleta.
Okay. I mean, that would certainly be a team, wouldn't it? Yaki and Fleta. All right.
Just to fill in the gaps, I think. And then for supports, just to rush us along, I guess I'll go with Fielder and Lee Jae-gon.
All right. Okay. Jesse, can you beat that team? What's your fantasy roster look like?
For DPS, I'd love to throw in Jinmu, just because I love watching Jinmu play. He's a stone face killer, especially in the Pharah. And let's see, what else would I pick? I like the Fleta pick, but I want a hit scan. I just realized Dallas doesn't have a hit scan. I can't really go from there. Yeah, I guess you could go with Lip. You might, maybe that's a little. I like the choice of Fielder. I almost wish we could see Repel. It's been like 2 whole weeks since we've seen Repel.
Sure.
I would love to see him. But I think I would more err towards Gundam Jin, probably. He was great on Runaway. I love his Ana, and as a Ana one trick, just love seeing those fat nades. And then I'm happy with Lee Jae-gong on support, so.
Okay, I like it. You've taken the Runaway backline there as well, who are playing against each other right now. Gundam Jin and Lee Jae-gong. I don't think they got to play against each other last year because they were in separate regions. And so they're playing against each other like in this tournament for one of the first times. That's pretty sick. All right, Scott, who have you got? What's your fantasy roster look like?
Mine actually looks almost identical to Bren's. I mean,
that's how you know. That's how you know you got to be worried, Scott.
It's hard. It's like Fearless. It's like the way he's playing right now. How can you not have him like on the team?
Sure.
And as far as off tank, that one's a little bit trickier, just because I think being able to actually tell like who like the best off tanks in the league are is a little bit more difficult, because they're like doing so much. They're more supporting and helping out their team in so many different ways. And I think you look at Void, and then just like he's just been awesome for a really long time, and he's up in the power rankings as well. DPS, Fleta, because he's Fleta.
Okay.
What more can you really say? He has a deadlift. He has a deadlift named after him. And then Yaki, I mean, I just like the way he's really sneaky. He's really smart. Some of the tracer plays he makes are just like really incredible. And I think in the meta that really fits. That would fit that team well. Fielder is just a monster. Although, we're blessed with a lot of like really great like Ana players, but like Fielder's just seems to be out of the 4 teams here on top. And then the last one, that's the one where like it could be like Lee Jae-gong. Actually, I think Slime's playing pretty well. I mean, he's another guy that's like been around in the league for a while. Like I think
he has,
he's. It's always interesting to me. It's like when you like have new, with Florida, it's like they have OG and Slime like coming in. It's like, are both those players, are they providing leadership? Are they? I think Slime is someone that's probably doing that. But again, that's a role where it's harder to tell like who's really like, but any of the 4 I think would be great.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say Slime just to be different.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the question, Gushing Gecko. T-Mobile has you covered, Gushing Gecko. thanks for the question. T-Mobile's going to hook you up with a 5G phone and Overwatch gear.
Oh my
What the
goodness.
heck? Surprise gifts. And that's Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile Fan Connection, presented by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. And we're just in time to get back to the game as well. We're headed to Hanamura. This was Florida Mayhem's map pick here. And Shanghai were running some really... They were running the Pharah last time they went to Hanamura with Fleder on defense.
There was a lot of predicting, I think, of what the other team might be running to try and anticipate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this time they've gone for Fleder and Lip, and they're playing a double shield as well. I mean, this is so much damage output with Shanghai's comp right now.
It's just so cool seeing everything be run.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
I'm waiting for the sim strats.
Yeah, have those been a personal favorite? I was loving it when Dallas Fuel were doing those in their qualifier games. Just rolling the North American teams using the sim.
I love that sim isn't just like a super niche pick. I mean, she still is, but like she's played on like hybrid maps and stuff now.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like the cheeky Hanamura strats and everything like that. Great.
I like she's such a unique hero in that she opens up, she changes the way that the enemy has to think about how to play into it, because the teleporter is so unique that it's so rare that you play into it that they don't think about it always, but it opens up another element to the game. Like normally if you have to worry about, like, I don't know, the opponent's Earth Shatter, like a Reinhardt holding the Earth Shatter, you only have to worry about it coming from the front, but when a Sim's in the field, if the TV goes behind, you have to worry about the threat of it coming from there. And it's like that added element that makes it really interesting. I'm a big fan of their comps when they run it.
And there's multiple places you can put the TP. It's not just here's the one like TP strat that everyone's using. And there's a lot of variation even within that like strat that the team has to prepare for from a defensive side.
Yeah. Something that you were mentioning actually, Scott, was the off tank and the main support stuff as being hard to be able to tell like who's the best when it comes to those kind of roles. I totally agree with you. When the game was kind of being developed, Overwatch, was the developer team kind of thinking about things in terms of main tanks and off tanks and main supports and flex supports, or is that something that naturally just came out of how the players ended up playing the game?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. There's certainly. So I think it's kind of a common. It's a little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Right.
I mean, certainly when you think about like Reinhardt and like the huge barrier he puts up, that's a particular tank style that definitely feels way more quote unquote main tank. You know, he's leading the charge. He's like up in front of the team, you know, doing all this tanking. And then we had, you know, these other type of tanks that we wanted to provide a different type of tank, which was, oh, let's have tanks with a lot of mobility, a lot of CC. Wow. Oh, lift, please. Sorry, I get distracted from answering by awesome plays.
Oh my god. I actually thought BQB would get the kill first, but no. Lip's crazy.
So yeah, then we also just wanted different types of tanks, and that wasn't as much as like main versus secondary, or you know, main support versus secondary support. It was just how can we provide different tank playstyles.
Right.
So, and some of those were, I mean, yeah, we knew that some of them were going to be a little bit more supportive than others in terms of their kits. You know, when you think of supports, Mercy has like a way higher, you know, hit points per second, you know, healing throughput than someone like Zenyatta. Right. But then we compensated by giving Zenyatta crazy offensive abilities. You know, but he's a glass cannon. So I think it was really just a matter of like giving those different play styles, creating like different types of heroes that players could play, because I don't know, we wanted to every player's different, you know, the kind of like play style that, you know, really is fun for them. We just want to make sure that there was a hero that they could play that they could enjoy. So over time, it definitely became, I think, that the main support, and once Al really came out, it became much more of like, here's a 6-person team. We needed names for them, how to distinguish them, and the overall meta developed, especially when we went to like 1 hero limit. right? So
Yeah. I mean, there's been some dramatic changes, not just to kind of the way that the game's been played, but also a lot of the different heroes in the game too. I was thinking when you were talking about that, about Orisa, because when Orisa was first released, a lot of the people who were playing it didn't really believe that she could be a good replacement for Reinhardt. I don't know if you remember back to that time.
Really?
Yeah, people were like, oh, the devs think she's going to be an anchor tank, and she isn't even good at that. And now she's like the most anchory of the tanks. And so by virtue of like tweaking a few of the things and the players just learning how to play the hero effectively too, the style of what you can do and the comps that you can run changes pretty dramatically. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how it just evolves. It's like a living product.
Very much so.
I quite like that concept of when you're developing a game, you don't want to get shoehorned into really thinking too hard about like specifics of main tank, off tank. You just want to create a cool game, you know. You want to create each individual hero to be fulfilling some sort of role and not really getting too locked in and I guess tunnel visioning in to them fulfilling like I guess the same kind of niche. But
what a wild situation we have here.
I know. Look at this.
This
95.9%.
85.9. Yeah.
Yeah, the Shanghai Dragons have turned up today. They want to win.
This is I wasn't expecting this, to be honest with you. Kurt was our producer. He predicted I think 3-1 for Shanghai.
He's a genius. He writes the script apparently.
Yeah.
This is what I expected more from like the first game between the two of them, honestly. Much more so than the wait, is the stream okay?
I think the stream just had a bit of tech issues on our side. I don't know whether that's on our side or on theirs, to be honest.
It's the stream paused for me as well, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right,
so it's on the owl side.
Yeah, it's probably on the Overwatch League side.
So.
Yeah, we'll all right. Well, we take a little break. Actually, this is another perfect time though, if we've got a little bit of time, to go for another fan connections, to be honest, because this I don't want to jinx it, but this game looks like it's rattling through.
Okay, so you want to try and give out as many phones as possible by reading out as many questions.
I don't have access to the phones. I don't have access to the phones. All I'm saying is if T-Mobile are going to give them away, I'm going to be the people's person. I'm going to be the messenger to the people.
Okay.
So Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile Fan Connection is presented by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Who's the next question we've got up here? All right. John Makaya says, who has been the most underrated team in the league so far? And I'm going to start here with Jessie because she looks like she's considering an answer and already has one in her head.
Oh, no.
Most underrated in the league so far. By who? Up to you.
Okay, I know there's only 20 teams, I know all of them, but I don't know. I feel like my answer, if I had heard this question at the start of the tournament, I would have had a better answer. But now that things are evolving, I feel like it's I feel like it's hard to say because I would have originally been like, I think Hunters looked like really good and beyond just like the Chengdu zone kind of thing. Like they looked like they were just playing like fairly coordinated, like clean Overwatch. But as we've seen them exit from the tournament, I can't say that as much anymore. I don't know. Is it cheating to say like Dallas at the start didn't look so clean, but they've obviously ramped up since then. They found their element, one could say.
Okay, and, I like that. You're a superhero with the power of hindsight, giving us the most underrated from a week ago.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like I feel like all the teams that have been appropriately rated have like qualified.
Sure,
and like all the other teams like we saw like play really well, but they missed the tournament. So I don't know if we can say that they're underrated, right? Like for example, Fusion looked great, but they didn't make the tournament. Similar with like Houston, they looked nice, but also didn't make it. I don't know. I don't know if you could say at this point that there's like a particular standout team that's going to be underrated. I don't know.
Jesse, nobody is underrated is also a fair answer here, I think. You just say, John, no one's underrated.
Is about rated, I think.
What do you think, Scott?
I I'm gonna cheat and take the I don't really know if anyone's like super underrated at this point.
Oh wait, shoot! I actually. It just occurred to me that I need to change my answer. I think the Spark. I think the Spark are going to be a bit of underrated. I think they're going to make a bit of a comeback. They looked not so great in the first 2 games, but like now they've started Shy and Gushe again, and it's like things are clicking, and I totally see it happening. Okay, I exceed my time.
All right.
Sure. The teams that you look at, like, haven't had necessarily good records like so far. Like, I think Paris has a potential upward trajectory. They've taken, even it's been some of our worst, least performing teams so far. Have taken maps from good teams along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Paris. I mean, you look at even like Vancouver. I mean, they've taken Vancouver's had some maps where it's just like, wow, you guys just put it all together and you look awesome. And then the next map, it didn't work out so well. But so again, I think there's a lot of talent out there that's just sort of is waiting. I mean, because again, so many of the teams did jostle so many players around. So I mean, it's still early in the season, and absolutely someone's going to come, make a run towards the later part of the season. It just feels like it's inevitable. But who that is, we'll have to see.
All right, Bren.
You want my answer?
Yeah, I want your answer.
There was one team jumped in my mind immediately.
Really? Okay, that's different.
Boston
Uprising, huh?
Boston Uprising.
Give me your reasoning.
I think that team is restructured. I think you got a good support staff behind them.
Okay.
And I think people are too tied to the narrative of the Boston of old at the moment. Where they're still associating the color scheme of Boston with failure. I don't think it's going to be the case anymore. I think that the Boston Uprising probably going to be aiming to be like a middle of the pack team that's maybe squeaking into a tournament here and there if they find the right meta. Right. I don't know what that meta is. Don't ask me. But if they might get it. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Decent. What
are you? You're not escaping this time, Question Master.
Okay. All right. Question Master will provide an answer this time too, I guess. I think I'm going to go for a cheating answer as well. I'm going to say that it's the Shanghai Dragons because wait there. Okay. Because a week ago when I was watching them play, when they had that really close game against Philadelphia Fusion, a lot of people thought they were going to be the weakest team coming into this. Yeah. And I think they've been categorized as sloppy or they can't quite make it work. And because they've just been getting these close wins over everybody. But I actually think they're a legitimately really good team. I would have favored them in this game over the Florida Mayhem as well, although I would have had Chengdu going through anyway. So it's my bracket has been boomed. So, no points for me there. But I did still believe in my Shanghai Dragons brethren. I think they're going to get back on top.
I'll accept that, actually.
All right, thank you.
Because I think that is a lot of the narrative going around is that Shanghai are a bit messy,
I appreciate that you accept that, as if that means anything here.
The people go by my word.
Okay, do they? Well, you can rely on T-Mobile, John McKaya. Thanks for the question. T-Mobile's going to hook you up with a 5G phone and Overwatch gear.
There you go.
I feel like Santa Claus. I'm just throwing things out left, right, and center. Actually, when I saw Scott's top, I thought that was a Father Christmas. I thought that was a Santa Claus top as well. But I've just realized it's Torbjorn. I thought Scott was wearing a really out-of-season Christmas top. But that does make a lot more sense, Scott.
I have a lot of Overwatch shirts.
Really?
I'm still building my collection. I'm newer to the team. I'll get there though.
What's your favorite piece? I mean, you're wearing 2 at the moment.
Oh well, I love this jacket. It's great.
Yeah,
it's nice, warm, and stylish. And on the inside of it, like on the tag, it says, "The world could always use more heroes."
Nice.
That is very sweet, actually. That's an Overwatch 2 shirt, right? Is that a 2 that's next to it as well?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, wrong side.
The
other side.
Yeah.
My favorite Overwatch merch that I had was the hoodies in the first year. I don't know if they still sell them. The Overwatch League hoodies in the first year.
Oh, really?
Do you know the black and white ones? I don't know why, they were just really comfortable.
I can't remember them, honestly. No, I can't remember them.
They're super comfortable, very subtle yet stylish. I have one of them in my closet, actually. Great.
All right. Are you guys ready to handle another fan connection?
I'm
ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready to
I'm ready to
some
throw
fans.
phones out to the masses.
Blow through these.
Yeah, I feel. Okay, well, again, Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile Fan Connection is presented by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network.
Wow.
The next question up from, well, I mean, you have a Twitter handle that's difficult to pronounce.
What is this?
Night Raven 99, I think, is what it's supposed to be, but it's missing all the vowels.
Yeah.
Why do gamers never include vowels in their name?
Because the proper spelling was taken, probably.
Ah.
Or maybe, I don't know, were there 98 other ones with that spelling? Probably not.
Surely not.
Yeah.
Surely not.
I don't know, maybe.
There simply can't be. All right, very important question, they say. So, of course, it must be to one of the Team 4 guests, presumably,
course,
right?
yeah.
I mean, they must want to know something really important about the development of Overwatch. Oh, wait there. Will we see any Bridowmaker or Brenji this year? Or something new like a Brineheart or a Brucio? Brucio sounds like the shark from popular cartoon movies.
Yeah, I retired the Bridowmaker character, and the
Okay.
Brenji character.
Yeah, I'm retiring the Sideshow Pharaoh as well after
I'm not surprised after witnessing it.
slapping
But that's,
by Yuki.
there's only so many times you can get destroyed by a pro in a 1v1 before the joke dies. And somehow I have just passed that curse on to you this year.
I've given up with it.
And you are you're the 1v1 person now. But yeah, the cool thing about having different personas with just BR at the front of them is that you can do it for anything. So it doesn't matter. Like whenever I'm playing the Brusmetra.
That doesn't work. I can tell you right now, that doesn't work.
The Brusmetra.
Simply doesn't work.
The Brinston.
Brimstone is good, yeah.
Brim, yeah.
The Brim. Right, the Sim.
I
got that eventually.
and Brimstone. Bust it out.
If you were doing a 1v1 against somebody else, Scott and Jesse, who's your go-to character? Who do you think you would have the highest chance of beating a random person at? You select a random person out of the Overwatch League player base. You don't know exactly where they're at, and you have to...
The Overwatch League player base? So
Sorry.
the pros or just the Overwatch?
Just a random Overwatch player base.
Okay.
And you're fighting for your spot on the development team, let's say. And you have to win a 1v1. You have to win a 1v1 to keep your spot on the development team. Otherwise, you have a random person like Bren coming in trying to make stupid development decisions all over the place. Who do you pick? Who do you go for? What character do you pick, Scott? Oh, sorry, Jesse. Yeah, let's start with you.
Oh yeah, sorry. I want to bring in some RNG into this, so I think I would choose Moira.
Okay.
I think I would choose Moira because it's a war of attrition. Like, who gets tired of holding the M1, M2 buttons for?
Do you know what the key is actually to Moira 1v1s? I've actually done them before in the past.
It's using the health orb because it actually heals more faster than the damage can be done.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
Wow.
Yep.
Jesse has the knowledge. She would actually beat the majority of people in a Moira 1v1.
I would go for damage orbs.
And you would lose.
Yeah.
And you would absolutely lose.
Yeah.
I love that. What would you go for, Scott?
Sorry.
No, sorry, go on.
It's like I think it's what's amusing is like we have so many amazing flex supports that are excel at like, Ana, Zen, BAP, whatever, but it's sometimes the Moira that trips them up.
It really is, actually. We've seen that already in the league so far. For some reason, these frag-hungry flex supports, as Doa would say, the bloodthirsty supports, they can't get on board with playing Moira. They end up just wasting their fade and dying. Right, what would you go for, Scott? Who's your pick of choice?
Zenyatta.
Ooh.
A man after my own heart.
That is bold.
Yeah, a lot of it's because like if it was like a normal DPS, let's be fair, I'd probably not do super well on it. So I think I'm an okay Zen, and with always like the charge up right clicks, I feel like I can get lucky occasionally.
That's true.
It's like it maybe like make some like outplays like around cover.
Yeah.
I can see a potential way to, if not victory, at least not complete humiliation.
I like that, actually. Did you see the 1v1 that we had earlier on? I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? In the watch point between Alarm and Jonak. Did you catch that? Zen 1v1?
I caught part of that. Yeah. That was
very
really,
funny.
really close. But yeah. Jonak won that. What was it, like 7-4 or something? But
it was something like that, yeah.
So
it was a weird system as well. Jonak got a point via a C9 at one point as well.
Because
it was played on one of the smaller like call them like sort of arena maps,
like Black Forest or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
Black
playing
Forest.
on Black Forest, and that like capture point is there just to prevent like complete stalls.
Yeah.
So, after a certain amount of time, that thing the point activates, and maybe Alarm didn't know about it until that point, or just didn't think about it. Because I mean, how often does he play?
Exactly.
So you're out of 1v1s on Black Forest.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I just never expected to see Overwatch League include C9s in a 1v1.
Exactly. Well, T-Mobile has you covered, Night Raven 99. Thanks for the question. And T-Mobile is going to hook you up with a 5G phone and Overwatch gear. I feel like a messenger from the gods who's just passing gifts out to the masses, like Prometheus giving fire out to early humans. It's incredible.
Without the liver plucking at the end.
Yeah, the eternal punishment that comes with it.
We'll see what happens afterwards. All right, looks like we're going to get cracking with King's Row. It seems like the Shanghai Dragons were able to wait.
Yeah, the stream stopped. I don't know if they didn't catch it on the Overwatch League stream or not.
But the second map did go the way of the Shanghai Dragons. That didn't end in a draw, right? This is still
no, it went away.
So yeah,
map 3.
Yeah, okay. I was just getting it sorted in my head here. And Florida have taken them to King's Row. This makes sense to me. I mean, Florida looked like the better rush team. They looked like they had a better understanding of it
Before.
apart from the loss on University.
Well, that's what I mean. Like on Oasis, I don't know. I would have thought that Florida would be way more comfortable, and that's their win condition. That was their win condition when they were playing originally.
Yeah.
The other day was trying to take Shanghai to maps where they can play the rush comps, but early on was not showcasing it. So I don't know. It's going to be hard for them.
Oh, Fate got deleted. Absolutely
Yeah, Fate did
deleted.
get just demolished.
He just got flashbanged in front of an amp matrix.
Yeah.
you know you're not living when that happens. Your life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah, you get it. Flashes.
That wasn't intentional, was it?
Or it could be good
No,
to
it
get
wasn't.
another boost here on
No.
the
Yeah.
No.
high ground and
It's crazy how the
I was-
offenses have like
keep him topped up.
changed like over like time, like how like teams are now like doing these complete loops around like all the high ground and coming in like,
Yeah.
from behind.
Yeah.
It's such an interest like. And this is like one of the maps, you think King's Row, it's like it's one of the like quintessential like Overwatch maps that everyone
It really
like loves and it's played like over and over and over again. And teams are still figuring out ways to like actually innovate on it.
Definitely. That's a crazy thing to me as well. A lot of other games that have esports make very constant changes to their maps to try and mix things up and have the teams approach it from different ways. Overwatch has kept a lot of the maps very similar since their initial release. There have been tweaks, definitely, and some maps have been reworked, and some maps have even been removed from the pool as well. But overall, it seems like, it just seems like teams have just learned very different ways of dealing with the map because they stay static. It hasn't ended up being just boring at any point in Overwatch League's, or in Overwatch rather's history.
Absolutely.
That must be an interesting thing to think about when you're designing new maps as well. Just trying to predict where teams are going to hold and what they're going to do, and then they might act in completely different ways to the ways that you're expecting.
Yeah, that's always, again, you just never know. I mean, 'cause the teams are so clever, and they'll take advantage of, this particular hero has this particular ability that, works particularly well on this particular bit of high ground, and, we'll never have thought of that. Like, some of the places that, teams have set up on some of the maps still sort of surprise me.
I mean, the Great Bamboozle on King's Row was still one of my favorite plays ever.
Yeah.
That was amazing, yeah.
There
was
was
just something so
merry-go-round.
unique about that as well. With the bait and the way that Sureforce swapped over to the Widowmaker and was just getting free kills. That was an incredible play.
Yeah. The best part being technical, like the admins asking, "Is your game okay? Should we pause?"
Wait, really? Is that what happened?
Yeah. So apparently, they had to ask Sureforce because he was just standing still as Brig and Spawn. Is your game okay? are you able to play the game? Yeah. So
That's so funny. That's hilarious, actually. I didn't know that was that's another twist in the tale. Do you have a favorite map that you enjoy watching or playing?
There isn't really any
I love King's Row like anybody else. Thank you, Aaron Keller, for giving us this map.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I know. It's very cool, but I think my favorite watching map is possibly Rialto. It gives me a lot of heart attacks, I think, but I feel like there's just so many amazing stories that happen on Rialto. I mean, season 2, of course, featured a lot of them.
Florida has not been able to bounce
I mean,
back.
it was like the great Atlanta C9 with like the Shock.
Yep.
There was like the many like the Titans versus Shock. Like that was like the birth of that amazing rivalry.
The EQO Dragon Blade.
EQO
as well.
Dragon Blade. Yep.
Oh my god!
yeah.
If somebody made a top 10 list of like most Pyrrhic plays in Overwatch, like that would be close to the top. And like it was like a Carpe winnable moment, and then they still lost the map. It was so heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah. I love watching teams play on Gibraltar.
That's a
I
great
mean,
map. Love
there's so much space there. And Gibraltar feels like almost the exact opposite from King's Row. King's Row feels like it's, narrow hallways and not a lot of high ground. Gibraltar is just the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Again, we've seen like how much like early stuff did we see like on Gibraltar? Like I remember like early on, like I forget which team it was, like right out basically it's like 3 snipers.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 2 snipers and 1 other DPS, but like 3 DPS comps and so much crazy stuff we've seen on
Rogue were playing
Gibraltar.
triple DPS there as well.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But I think it captures the spirit of the UK and the Mediterranean so well, and how different they are too. Claustrophobic, dark, intimidating London, and then a gorgeous, beautiful, sun-in-your-face Mediterranean kind of setup for Gibraltar.
Actually, that's one of the things. Like, I would like to ask: can we nerf the sun on Gibraltar just a little? It's a little bright in my eyes on defense.
Wasn't that intentional? Like the I remember, maybe I was dreaming it, but I heard that it was an intentional. It was introduced as a part of the map intentionally to help the attackers push.
You know what? I don't know that story.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very possible that Bren invented that story.
No, okay,
very possible.
Yeah, I
I
consumed a lot of articles and stuff when Overwatch was like leading up to being released.
Right.
So I have a lot of this weird niche knowledge that.
Do you know who made Gibraltar?
No, I'm not familiar.
Right. Yeah.
But
we'll have to ask them.
that's something that I'd like to find out, or if I did just dream it, as like it was intentionally put into game to help the attackers push through that area, because by all accounts, if you're like purely looking at it from a map design perspective, it's quite hard to push in if you're an attacker. There's so much high ground that the defenders have access to that it makes sense that like it's like something you wouldn't think about, but it's like your vision is limited when you're looking in that direction towards the attackers.
That would be 5-head stuff.
I swear I heard this, but I don't know where.
It might actually be possible, because I mean, when you think about like early Overwatch, the car wash was an issue. Like especially for I mean, and not just like at the pro level, but I mean, it was getting that payload past like the car wash was, I mean, for a lot of players, a real undertaking. So maybe we did do it. I'll have to ask and find out for sure, because now you got me really curious.
Yeah.
Wait, did they see 9?
Wait, they didn't touch the payload?
Oh my god.
Oh, they had 6 players alive, I think. Maybe one of them was going for the res. I think Legion might have been trying to res.
And like 3 or 4 picks on Florida. That was ouch.
Ooh.
That was, I mean, that was 1, I think.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
They had so much time as well pushing it from point B to C.
Yeah.
And Florida have stopped them just short.
Well,
They're in their heads.
It's a must-win map for Florida, so it's a boon for them. Let's take a look at this replay. There's a bomb in the back. Void goes down, so he can't.
It's just,
Oh my god.
Oh, but Fate is right there as well. I think Fate was just assuming that Ladder could touch.
I don't know. So when I was living with Jake,
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Bren brings this up, by the way, every time I talk to him when there's a situation like this, but he's going to share it with the world now.
Well, I share it often because the way he phrased it is like, okay, we can take the mickey out of teams for C9ing.
Yeah.
But when pro players are playing, they are trying to min-max and squeeze every bit of efficiency out of every single moment of the game at a given time. And that includes engaging onto the objective at the very last minute to get like the best outcome in a team fight. And so that's why C9s happen at the top level, even though like it seems ridiculous to even think about. But pro players are thinking about how to stretch every single second out and play optimally in every single second so that they touch it at the very last instant. And sometimes it backfires and you C9. But Jake explained it to me from like the pro player perspective essentially, and it's a lot more. At least that's how I excuse it in my mind.
Yeah, no, it is understandable, of course. Yeah. Because a lot of people just think about it and they're like, well, I can touch the objective in my gold games.
Yeah.
Why can't these guys? That's such a basic error.
Yeah, I think especially if it's like somewhat chaotic or you're still setting up plays, like you may just miscomm who's supposed to touch and when. Like it was like, it looked like it was supposed to be Flutta, but maybe he thought Fate could touch. I don't know. It would be interesting to see what the comm setup was.
Yeah. And those situations are always crazy as well. At the end of a fight, you're trying to call focus targets and all sorts. The communication in this game is insane.
Yeah. Honestly, so when we did an internal tournament, like within like Blizzard, me and a bunch of other coworkers did a team add together, and like one of the biggest things, just figuring things out, is just how to talk to each other.
Definitely.
Like how to, like it's not even just like we need a shot call or whatever. It's just like, let's just get everyone saying the same target.
Yeah.
Like it's really as simple as and as difficult as that.
Yeah, and trying to communicate plans to each other so that you have an idea of what you are going to do before you do it. Oh, the pulse bomb stick is so good there. Is it bad that I'm worried about Mayhem here? The Dragon's poke comp is really effective. Okay, Fate dies, but is Legion just going to be able to get a res? And then these guys are so deep behind. This is starting to look a little rough for Florida here.
Yeah. I mean,
Yaki is still dueling Flood in the back.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
He's going to get sandwiched here, I think.
Oh, they got Izzy.
Why is Lip not turning around? Oh, okay, never mind.
Izzy died in the meantime, though.
Yeah.
And Void also fallen, so this is looking a bit more doable.
Yeah, OG can't challenge that with the Ash and the Tracer coming. There's no way.
Second tick.
Gargoyle gets some rally armor, now gonna go up to the high ground. This is dangerous. Bring on the point.
Oh, Bob to contest the point.
Bob. Oi, Bob didn't die to the
Do you
Man has so much HP.
You get the same feeling that we get of like, I'm more attached to Bob than any other hero in the game, and I don't know why. I think it's because he doesn't have control of himself. He's helpless, you know?
Yeah, he's at the whim of Ash.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. He's just a poor, helpless being that's out there in the battlefield doing his best. And he just gets destroyed by everybody else.
Can all relate to that in some way.
It's because he puts all of his trust in Ash, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the lady I serve could never guide me wrong. And then he goes careening off into the sunset off the map.
I think when I watch Bob, it reminds me of the lack of self-determination I have in my own life. I'm just a passenger like Bob, just being sent off. And I'm, sure, I'll do this.
Sometimes you just end up in the Strait of Gibraltar.
Yeah. Am I going to get thrown into a river, slap-darted, blown up? Who knows? But my heartstrings get plucked every time Bob is on the battlefield. It's such a great idea adding a character like that to the game.
Yeah, and no matter what Bob does, he does it well dressed.
He does.
Very true.
He's got style, and I can appreciate that.
I love the golden Bobs. My favorite part of the golden weapon for Ashe.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe skins are actually my favorite in the entire game, and I don't even play Ashe. But it's just because Bob also gets an even better skin most of the time. The Red Riding Hood one was just phenomenal.
It was so good.
Just phenomenal.
It was great.
An absolute S-tier skin.
Yeah, the artist knocked that one out of the park. Absolutely.
Are they going to be able to? Yeah, they are.
Well, yeah, Shanghai are going to try and recontest this.
Oh, look at the set play. Oh, the bomb! I don't think
that bomb got into the boxes. Unlucky.
Yeah, I think they meant for it to go further.
Don't think it was supposed to be a warehouse delivery project. It was supposed to go real deep. There's Lips Bob doing work. Go Bob. Go Bob. I just love him. I love him.
I think it's always very amusing when like High Noon or like any ability only gets Bob. It's like
wait, they just hid behind the lamppost.
Did they? I thought they were hiding behind the Brigitte shield.
Maybe they did, yeah. Actually, okay, that's less cool.
I mean,
I thought they hid behind the lamppost because it's like the center of the hitbox on. Yes, I think the center
were
of the
they trying
hitbox.
to go for the C9 there, or was he just trying to reset?
I don't know.
Probably. I think he was just resetting. But if I was Yaki right now, I'd be going for the C9. He's definitely going for the C9 right there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's... Oh my god!
They didn't see him. Void did not see him.
Oh my god, please! Oh my god.
Yaki does these sneaky things on this map so much.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I think what would be an interesting challenge is like, you get put in a game and your only job is to try and C9 an Overwatch team. Like, you don't have to do any of the fighting, just like find the right opportunity to C9.
The payload has to be pretty far advanced for that to happen. What would the game mode be that it has to start like 1 meter away from the objective or something?
Yeah,
so it's a massive advantage for that team.
The payload actually damages the defenders, so they
I
can't
love
stay
that
on it for
idea.
very long.
I love that idea.
God.
Oh, no way they've done it.
And Bob is the MVP.
Holy smokes.
That is such a different result to last time.
I wasn't expecting that.
I know.
Yeah.
I really did expect it to be a lot closer. Like, this is, not gonna lie, this is what I kind of expected the first match to have gone like.
God,
I guess
OG
Shanghai
looks
just
devastated
pulled it
as well.
together.
Yeah.
These face cams that the Overwatch League has are so good, but they're just heart-wrenching in these kind of moments as well.
Yeah.
You get to see all of the highest highs of the players, and then their heartbreak when they end up losing as well. It's so emotional.
But that's why we love it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what sports is, right? It's an exercise in empathizing with the peaks and the troughs of life.
Competition.
Yeah. All right, there we go. There's my philosopher moment.
Thank you.
There's a great Haikyuu episode about this.
I want to
do one more fan moment.
I want to do a few more fan moments.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Here we
Let's
go. Here we go. All right. We've got ourselves Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile Fan Connection is presented by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. And our next one is from Drew with 2 W's. If you could name and locate a new OWL team, and I assume they mean locate as in assign it to a place, not find it, you know?
Sure.
So if you could name and locate a new OWL team, what would you call them, or what city would the team be affiliated with? So like a duo question. I guess this is just like fantasy team name and location. Scott, I'm going to fire this one towards you first.
Sure. There's a lot of good possibilities here. Just looking domestically, we don't really have a Midwest team in the OWL. So I think having, if we could get a Chicago team, I think that'd be awesome. Because Chicago's the Windy City. Maybe it's like the Chicago Tempest. Or something like that.
I love that
really
name, actually. That is good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Scott stole my answer. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. So I was like, I didn't have a Midwestern team to cheer for, when the Overwatch League started. So I would choose Chicago. And I love alliterative names. So since Chengdu didn't get the chance to do it, I would name them the Chicago Chads.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Bren, what's yours?
I don't. This is difficult because it tests your creativity.
It does, yeah. You could go for alliteration. That makes it a lot easier.
Alliteration does make it a little bit easier. I was thinking, like, what would be a really cool city to do a new Ultimate? And I think Singapore would be really, really dope, I think. Just because it's like this melting pot that exists in the section of the world where all these different cultures come together. It's a dope city. Yeah,
right, I've never been. Yeah, I'd love to at some point, yeah.
But I don't know what I would name afterwards. Maybe because it's by the ocean, maybe like the Singapore Sirens or something.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
you've got a little bit of iteration there, a little bit of, I like that. I think, I've actually already done this before in the past too, and so I'm going to just reuse my answer from that. And it's a bit nerdy, but there's a Korean city called Sejong, which is named after one of the kings, Sejong the Great, who was the person who invented the alphabet.
Oh, really?
And the Korean alphabet is notorious for being incredibly simple and extremely easy to learn and like teachable, and it made it much more accessible for the poor to be literate in the country. And I love that story. I love the origin of that. And so my team would be the Sejong Greats. And I think that would be a great.
That is a good team.
I think that would be a good addition to Korea as well, because they've been so good in this in the game before too. So
I was
that's what I would go with.
expecting Kings or something.
And what you also get out of it is another regional rivalry. You get like Seoul versus
Definitely.
That'd be super true.
We've had such a good like rivalries for like Dallas, Houston, LA, San Francisco.
The classic next Korean team would really be Busan.
Yeah,
Busan,
that would be.
Yeah. But anyway, I just skipped that because I wanted to be hipster, I guess. Okay.
What a good story.
Yeah. You can rely on T-Mobile, Drew. Thank you very much for the question. And T-Mobile's going to hook you up with a 5G phone and some Overwatch gear. Yeah.
Why is your voice is doing these strange things?
Yeah, because I'm amped.
You're amped out the phones of the people.
You've given me too much power. This tablet contains the power. All right. I've got another one hit for you here as well. So again, Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile Fan Connection, presented by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. This one's from Rolly, my friend. And they ask, out of all of the teams that had a slow start this season, which of them do you believe has the highest ceiling to adapt quickly and turn their season around? So it's a little bit similar to the earlier question about underrated teams, but this one isn't necessarily you think they're underrated now, but you just think that they have a good opportunity to turn their season around at some point in the future. I'm going to begin with you, Brent. Are you going to just reuse your answer and be boring?
The obvious answer is like Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Or well, maybe not the obvious answer. There's a lot of teams you could go for.
Yeah. I actually
can I
think
change my answer?
Yeah.
I want to go Gladiators.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have faith in Atlanta. Sorry to be so harsh. That's an opinion I hold dearly to me. Not dearly. I mean, I'm willing to let it go if Atlanta eventually got good. But yeah, Gladiators I think is the more obvious choice for a team that's. I think our expectations for Gladiators were very, very high. And they haven't been met yet, but they have a lot of potential. So
yeah. Okay. Scott, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Atlanta was going to be another one of my choices, but I mean, so far, like actually, I mean, you could maybe even say San Francisco might be an option here.
That's a great pick, actually.
I mean, they were the I think everyone was predicting them to be the best in the NA.
Yeah,
a lot of people were. So the fact that they haven't necessarily they weren't here, they weren't in Hawaii. If that's the kind of goal that they were setting for themselves, and I'm sure that's what they did. They didn't make it, so maybe San Francisco is a good option there.
Yep. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I think Shock is like a good one just by because by their own standards they had a slow start, right? Like not making the Melee is probably a big disappointment to them. And so, but we also know that they provably have an incredibly high ceiling.
Yes, yeah.
Perhaps even like it's like twice provably. So, so we have that. But other than that, I don't know. I think my answer from earlier about Spark, I think that this team could totally pull it together and make a run for it. I think like they have some really amazing players on tank, players on like support, and of course on DPS, you have Godspeed, you got Shy, you got Architect. I think all of those players are really promising. I don't know if they would win, but I would like to see them pop off a bit. I don't know.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. That was actually going to be my one as well. The Hangzhou Spark, I am deeply invested in their stocks at this point, and I'm hoping they don't keep on dipping, because otherwise I'm going to be a poor man. Well, T-Mobile has you covered, Rolly, my friend. Thank you for the question. And T-Mobile is going to be hooking you up with a 5G phone and some Overwatch gear. I've got one last one that I want to get to. I'm sure there were many. Well, there definitely were. I'm not just sure. I'm literally sure. there were tons of other questions, but we've just got time for one more here. And so this one is from Churn the Yak. And this one, Churn the Yak. I don't know whether that's a yak named Churn or whether it's like a command to somebody. Who knows?
Yeah.
Big fan of like yogurt, maybe like yak yogurt.
Yeah.
And this one is, who's a player that Sideshow wouldn't dare 1v1? And honestly, the answer after this is just anybody in the Overwatch League. Because after this week's, frankly, shameful performance against Yaki, it was just humiliating. When I don't know whether you've ever, done a piece of a video piece and you're like, oh, I should try and ham this up. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a great battle, and maybe I can get a couple of kills and I can try and style on him a bit, even though I am inevitably going to lose. And then just the inexorable failure washes upon you, and you realize that you are doomed to never get a single kill until he trolls. And then
plays with his feet.
Yeah, and plays with his feet. It's incredibly disappointing. Wouldn't advise anybody ever 1v1 an Overwatch League Pro. They're just better than us mortal humans. Yeah, it is truly absurd. Scott, I actually have a question for you, though, as well, that's somewhat related to my topic about Overwatch League players being the best. When you're at the beginning of the development of Overwatch, and when you're first getting into it, where did you see the skill ceiling being? And do you think that where is the current level in terms of what you were imagining when the game was being built and when you were involved in the development process early on?
We knew it was going to be immense. I mean, when you think of, we've got all the craziness in terms of hit scan. You think about like what the ceiling of a Widowmaker is. I think we started to see that. Like we had some like really crazy Widowmaker play, like in season 1, season 2. Tracer for us was always just like, she was just like the ultimate sort of character in terms of skill ceiling. Just like being able to manage your charges of blink. You can blink in pretty much any direction, and then you like add recall on top of that. Plus, you have to go in, to do damage. You're like really short range, so Tracer was this amazing like character where she could be very vulnerable, but she had so many tools to be slippery. Yeah. So we knew we were absolutely going to be characters that just had these tremendous skill ceilings. Now, at the same time, we also wanted to make some characters that didn't have such as high skill ceilings, because again, we're not just making every single character for pros. But we definitely designed some characters around just ridiculous skill ceilings from the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, T-Mobile has you covered, Churn the Yak. Thank you for the question. T-Mobile is going to hook you up with a 5G phone and some Overwatch gear, and that is, listen, the power has got to be taken away from me at this point. Otherwise, I'm just going to be handing out phones left, right, and center. I do have another question, though, and I want to direct this one to Jesse, too. We now have our final 2 teams for the main melee. It's going to be a rematch, an insane rematch of the Dallas Fuel playing against the Shanghai Dragons. Who have you got, and who are your players that you're keeping an eye on?
I think it's going to be Fuel. I think they have had amazing momentum in the series. I think they really refound, I guess, their core, right? I mean, it's literally Element Mystic, but remixed a little.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think we can trust Rush to do well with Rush and with the double bubble comps and all these other things. I don't know. I think they look like they're going to make it, and without a hit scan player on that, like this is a team that's already been beating teams without a hit scan player specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ludicrous,
yeah.
isn't it?
I think it's totally possible that they're going to take it.
Yeah.
I think they just have that kind of power going for them right now.
They do look scarily unstoppable. But Shanghai are the team that's played them the closest so far.
And Shanghai look way better, I think, as well, coming into this match.
Sure.
So who knows what they're going to be bringing tomorrow.
Do you agree, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Dallas, I mean, they found this style with the Winston, the Ana, and with Fearless and Fielder. Those two players are just so amazing that I don't know. Like, it worries me if Shanghai tries to just like mirror that comp again and try it out, because I just think Dallas is clearly the best at what they're trying to do at their style.
Sure.
So, and even though like the match earlier was close, yeah, I mean, again, if Shanghai just tries to basically mirror it again, I give the advantage to Dallas. Maybe they figure out something to counter it, or at least blunt the effectiveness of it, but it looks so good. And yeah, the entire hit scan thing for Dallas, it just seems completely overblown. It's like Doha plays a really good Sombra, if they need to bring that up. And Sparkle has been doing reasonably well on Tracer. He has. He hasn't looked at all embarrassing. Has made actually really good some really good plays on him. So, I mean, we're not in a Widowmaker meta, and maybe they don't have that they don't have that player, but I mean that's not that's not the style they're into. So I'll give it to Dallas.
They've definitely found a way of working around it, haven't they? Yeah. Well, I am so excited to watch that match tomorrow. Yep. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. What time is it right now?
No, what time is the match starting?
I would love to give you that information, but I don't know it off the top of my head. So if you want to learn it, you better look it up and tell the good people at home.
I'm looking it up. Don't worry.
What are we looking at here?
Well, they don't tell us on stream.
I'm sure they will tell us on stream. Yeah, absolutely.
It is 8 p.m. Central, so 6 p.m. Pacific.
There we go. Yeah, that's the time of the game tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us as well, Scott and Jesse. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and pick your brains a little bit. I mean, just an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Sure.
One final message from our partners over at T-Mobile as well.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us for the Overwatch League Stream On with T-Mobile. And when you game, you know T-Mobile has you covered. Their 5G network has the speed you need for a last-minute boost. It's just another way America's largest and fastest 5G network is changing the game. Visit T-Mobile.com today to check it out. Your game will thank you. And one final thank you as well to Scott and Jesse there. I really appreciate you guys coming on. And I believe, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but I believe there's going to be more co-streams coming up. So
you've said it now.
I've said it now. I've said it now. I don't know when they are. I don't know when they're happening, but there's going to be more in the future. So if you've enjoyed this one at home, go and check out and subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Overwatch League channel as well, and you'll figure out when these things are happening more regularly because it's exciting times for Overwatch, not just for the Overwatch League, but there's all sorts of stuff happening all over the place in the Overwatch universe at the moment. And I'm loving what's coming up in the Overwatch scene. Anyway, I mean, I don't know how we're closing this out.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say.
Gonna keep rambling forever, honestly.
We could. I mean, we could. I've got these bananas that I've been teasing behind us.
Yeah, just eat a banana and we'll close out on a
crack open a banana.
I'm just
there we go.
eating a banana.
eat a banana.
Yeah, he feels it from the stem and not from the bottom, like a typical person should.
That's how you know he's a human and not a chimpanzee. You wouldn't be able to tell in any other way, but you can in that metric. And yeah, we'll see you next time. And